Anyone who is on YouTube or like that, just click on the share or subscribe button. We have a free Discord channel that we post up here. People are talking about what trades they're looking at. Myself and Ben are participating in it there. This is a free chat room for anyone. We also have the announcement area where we have videos and stuff. So if you want to pop up there and have a look at and watch some of the videos that we're talking about and whether you should invest or not invest. We also have the free course section. So the free course section, you have Ben's free course, you have my free course. Jump in on both of those and get your education up. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, and then we're going to take some requests for some stocks and stuff. So anyone who's on YouTube or any other channel, just click on the subscribe, and then anytime I post a video, you guys will automatically get it. So this is what we looked at on the crypto, well, I said crypto one, Bitcoin a couple of weeks ago. So we've seen this run and a pullback. So we haven't seen, it didn't play out like we were looking to see. So we've seen this high, we wanted it now to continue breaking, it retested or came back, it broke again, made a higher high, and then it come back again. So we still haven't seen any of these play out into that sort of area. Now, something I posted up in the group there is that if we look at this, we have a consolidation going on here. If we look at this area, we have a little consolidation going on here at this moment, about there. So it's bounced once, went up, bounced twice, went up, and it's now touched a third time. So just looking at this consolidation pattern here that's happening, what would you expect to happen next? Would you expect it to break to the downside, or would you expect it to hit here again and then pop to the upside? What would, in your opinion, just looking at this consolidation pattern, what would, in your opinion, would you expect to happen? Okay, so we're seeing a lot of different answers here. Some people think it will pop up, some people think it will pop down. So we're going to zoom out and have a look at this area and see if it's any stronger. Okay, so if I drop a horizontal level in there, so if I get a horizontal, make this nice and thick, and I'm going to change the color of it so everyone can differentiate with the line. There. So it went up, hit its head once, come back down, broke through, hit its head, come back down, hit its head, come back down, broke through, hit its head, come back down, hit the floor, went up, hit the floor, went up, and now hit the floor again. So anyone now want to change their answer, expecting this to go up, or is anyone who is saying it's going down still believe it's going to go down with that extra little bit of support at that area? So is anyone going to change their answer? Up. Now, the thing with this is that there will be buyers at level. There will be buyers at level. I hope it goes up. Well, look, we all hope it goes up. So there will be buyers at that particular level. If you're looking at this, there will be buyers, and you can see this wick has already happened. If we drop down to the smaller time frame, we can already see there's buyers after jumping in there. Now, how many buyers are going to jump in is a completely different matter. Now, if we look at what has happened today, we look at what happened today. So I'm going to delete that there. So if we look at what happened today, we have an awful lot of selling power today. We have an awful lot of selling power. Now, at this present moment, it looks like there's more sellers in this market than buyers. So is this something that I would jump into trade? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I was looking to trade this, I would not be taking this trade. But if I'm someone who is investing in this, there was the high. It went down to there, and that is a 15% drop. So that means if it goes and hits that record high again, you know that you're 15% up from buying the underlying asset. So is there value in buying that there now? Yes, there is. But it then comes down to what are your thoughts? Do you think there's more pressure to the downside here? Do you think it's going to continue dropping? Do you think that level is better there? So bounce, bounce, bounce. Is that a better level? Or do you think that that level up there is better? That's where it's going to hold. So it all comes down to what your long-term view is. And if you think it's going to come down a little bit further, you hold off. If you think that this now adds value, then you buy it. Now, there's nothing wrong with someone buying it here. And if it drops down to here, then you buy it again. Remember, when we're trading, we should only ever be risking 1% of our accounts. And that means that if we're wrong, because we are often wrong when we're trading. We are often wrong. And that's something that we have to be aware of. As we're trading, as we're jumping in, we're often wrong. So this is a potential buy. If it drops to here, we buy it again. If it drops to here, we buy it again. So 1, 2, 3%. And that's exactly what I did here. At this particular time, I bought it as it started coming down. I bought it here. Then I bought it here at this level. And then I bought it on this green line here. So anyone who is ever missed out on a cryptocurrency, anyone who's ever missed out on any particular way or any asset, this is how you trade it. You don't necessarily jump in on this run. As it's coming down, you buy at levels that you feel there's value. Okay? And that's the idea. And that's the idea. Now, the general consensus is that Bitcoin will hit 100K by the end of the year. That's the general consensus across the board. Now, the problem with this is that there's no precedent for it. It's guesstimation. It's using historical data to predict where it's going to go. Now, I'm someone who is very interested in using historical data, so we would expect it to continue to run. But the problem is that we are talking about supply and demand, and we don't know whether people are going to do the same thing over and over again. But we know historically it repeats itself. So is there a probability of that happening? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. But it is something that we can actually look at over the next coming months. Has anyone got any questions on Bitcoin there? Are you guys looking to trade that there? Or are you looking to invest in that there? Okay, so most people look like they're going to buy it. But one or two think it's going to drop a little bit more. Okay, absolutely could. It could absolutely drop a little bit more. I could actually come back nicely to that 52 level. But if you think it's going to come to that 52 level, you want to have your entry slightly above it. So I would put my entry at 53. There's nothing wrong with there putting an order. We'll actually stick an order in there now. Buy, order at 53,000. Risk in 100 quid because I have a 10K trading pot. So risk 100 quid, set order. So I'm going to get that green dotted line. The dotted line, green, and pop it in there. So there's my entry. So there's my orders there's my orders. There's another one. Now, if it comes back down to there, I'm looking to trade. So it's one of these things that you will be surprised how many times things will come down, touch those areas, and then bounce off again. And we don't necessarily have to be there. Are you happy enough to have another entry at 51,000 or 53,000? And the general consensus is yes. And if it continues to drop, I will have another entry at 42. and then I'll have another entry a second time at 30 grand. So I'm slowly dollar cost averaging in as it keeps coming down. And then I don't care about these bull runs because I'm already in the market as it's coming down. And then the whole thing of emotion is dissipated. People talk about emotion all the time. Because if you're buying it on the way down, you know it could go red. You know that buying it here, there's a probability that it'll hit here. And when it hits here, we now see that the phase 2 is happening. We know it's down to supply and demand, and it might even go to there or there. There's a high probability. So we know that when we're buying it here, it could continue going down. We know that already that the first position will be red, second position will be red. Then when this one turns, this starts to go green. Then the second position goes green, the third position goes green, and now we're up here, we have loads of different positions in the market. So you're dollar costing in on the way down. Okay, so going to have a quick look at ADA as well. So we're going to spend a half an hour on crypto, and then the other last half an hour we're going to spend jumping in on stocks. Anyone so that once the half past button hits, let me know, and then we can jump in on looking at some stocks that you guys want. Now we have a pretty decent level here on Cardano. So it's bounced once, twice, 3 times. So it has rejected that level already today. Now, we talked about this sort of descending triangle, and it broke out to the upside, but then the momentum stopped again and it sort of dropped. So do we think that Cardano is going to hold here, or whether it's going to go down to that 1.466 level? Do we think it's going to drop down to that lower level? Looking at the structure of the market, looking at what's after happening. Looking at what's going on here. So is that, do you think it's going to hold, or do you think it's going to drop? The structure at this point is strong. Okay. I'm gonna give you my thesis on this now very shortly. So we have 1 hold, 2 holds, 1 drop. So hold, 3 holds, and 1 drop. 2 drops. Depends on BTC. Well, that's a good answer, Alistair. But let's just take Cardano on its own at the minute. So the general consensus is people think it's gonna hold. So it's about a 60-40. There's about a 70-30 now. People think it's gonna hold. Okay, so just going through this here. So we actually have a pretty decent level. So it touched once, came down, bounced, gone up, that's twice, bounce gone up 3 times, bounce gone up 4 times. Here, bounce gone up again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then touched and rejected there 6 times. So we have a rejection there. So the bar is not finished, so we can't guarantee that that's where it's going to finish yet. But so far we have 5 confirmed, and we have now 1 touching it. So what we also have gone on here is, if you look at this, we have had this happening. I'm going to change this to, say, purple. So we've had this happen. So we've had this higher high happen. But since that higher high, what's after happening? We have had a lower low. So when we get this structure change, this higher high, we want to have a higher low. That's where we want that to stop. But what's after happening here is we've now had a lower low. So it means that the buyers tried to push into this market, the buyers tried to push it up, and then the sellers have taken control. Okay, so for me, looking at this, I would expect this to happen, in my opinion. Now, if we were looking at this point, we were looking at here, I would expect it to pop to the upside. At this point, I talked about this, I think it was last week or the week before, we talked about this and it popped up nicely. I was expecting it to pop up, Now, we would have liked it to continue making higher highs, okay? Unfortunately, it didn't. Now, the whole structure of this has now changed. The whole structure of this has now changed. So in my opinion, this will drop to about here. And again, I've been wrong loads of times. I've been wrong loads of times. I still have my order here. I still have that order in place. I still haven't moved it. And I will be pushing another order there at 1.5, probably a little bit higher, 1.53. So buy at 1.53, order. And again, 100 quid. Set order, get my green line. I got it at 1.09. All right, Billy Big Bollocks. So we don't be telling everyone. 1 point there. Fiddlesticks, that purple, don't they? Horizontal. So the idea is to get in, is to get that at a little area that we want. So there is where my entry is on that. So there's my two orders. They still are there, they're set. And if it comes down and triggers me in, then I'm happy to be in the market. But again, look at it, it's pretty sideways. Now, as we would expect it to eventually break to the upside. And if we look at this measuring tool, for it to go to the record high from where it is today, that is a 40% return. If it goes back to here, that is a 51% return. And if it goes back down here, this is a 67% return on investment, okay? So we have nice room to the upside on the likes of these. And we know if we hold on to these crypto long enough, they generally make higher highs, okay? So it's the same as any other asset class. Once all season happens, once the likes of this happens, then it generally takes off, okay? Let's have a look at Ethereum. So again, similar has happened on Ethereum. It has hit that high and it is rejected. So they're all mirroring what's after happening on Bitcoin today. So they've all had a pretty big drop. They've all had a nice rejection. So there is a small level there at this particular point through that area. And there is a potential long at that particular 3.9. When does all season generally happen? In December was one of them. I have no idea. Generally, when Bitcoin stops moving, all coins take off as a general rule. So is crypto around long enough to actually start doing it seasonally? Don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. But again, there is room for movement. There is room for upside. We have momentum here. Anyone want me to go through any particular crypto? Anything you guys want me to go through? Chainlink. So this has rejected that level. Lovely. Anyone on Naga? Did you happen to take that short of that level? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times it hit that level and rejected it. Did anyone take that short? And if you took that short, I'd be looking for this to get down to 1966. That's where I'd be looking for this to come down to. But look, people say that cryptocurrency don't follow structure. There's the structure. Remember, we're human beings who are trading it, and as human beings, we like structure. It's really, really nice level. Sloan has again bounced at this level. Look, it bounced once, it's come back and rejected it. I would probably expect that to come back down into this area, into this one. I can't see it holding at that level. I can't see it holding at level. I'd expect it to come down to somewhere around here. So what selfish reasons, Catty, have you for wanting Sloan to go down? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people here that would fight with you yeah. And nope, that's not going to happen. Okay, but I'd expect it to come back down to this area. I expect it to come down to that 172 level. And if it comes down to that 172 level, then you have a potential buy on it. And again, if we look at from where it is the high, come back down to here, it's a 33% drop. So there's room for the upside on this. Okay, but we look at the structure, it broke out. Look at the structure, it broke out. I would expect it to come back down to here. I can't see it holding at this level. But again, I've been wrong a couple of times. Shiba. Would I chance a short here? If it breaks this, then yeah, I can't see it stopping before here. But you have to have a little bit of confidence in your analysis. And would I be shorting the likes of Sloan? I would probably short, what was it, Chainlink, the one we just done a few minutes ago? Was it Chainlink? I would rather short Chainlink than Sloan. Look at the structure of it. It's sideways. It's coming, you'd expect it to come back to there. There should be no reason for that to come back any there. Whereas if we look at Sloan, we have a really nice trend. There's buyers in this market. There's a lot of people pushing it up. So I'd be less confident of it coming back down to here as I would on Chainlink going back down to the lower level. So remember, taking your trades is all about assessing the probability of it. So there's more probability of this going up than Chainlink, if that makes sense. Shiba. And again, we have had this nice little drop. When is the best time to buy this? Well, the best time to buy this thing is at 9.4. I still fully expect it to come back to there. I don't see for any reason why that won't come back to there. But again, if you believe that, perfect. If you don't, you buy it when it gets back to this level. You buy a little bit, so you dollar cost average in, so at least you're in at this particular point. And then as it's come down, then you buy in at these lower levels. But I'd expect it to come back down into this area. But we do have a triple bottom there. Granted, we do have a triple bottom there, and this is that is a decent structure as well that's happening. So we look at this. We do have a decent structure happening there, and it is a descending triangle that's going on, and a pretty decent one at that. And we do have a lot of momentum to the upside, so this could easily break out to the upside. But look, I don't see any reason other than people just pure hype jumping in on this. 100-pound machine to the moon. Absolutely. XRP. So XRP, look, I'd expect XRP to get back to that level, 0.93. I don't see any reason why this would be something that we look into. Me personally, I wouldn't be looking at XRP till I come back to this level, 0.52, and I'd be quite confident that it will come back down to there, in my opinion. The structure here doesn't tell me that there's buyers in the market. It doesn't tell me that there's anything anything pushing this up, I'd expect this to come back down into this area. Just in my opinion. XRP Tron. So let's have a look at Tron. Okay, so Tron doesn't look too bad. We do have a really nice level there, and I'd expect to sort of come back there if this is a little bit of a pullback across all of these cryptocurrencies. I would expect to sort of come back to the 0.082 level, and if it comes back there, we can expect some sort of jump. But yeah, time will tell. It's hit its head there and rejected that level. But again, it's similar to what's happening with Bitcoin at the moment. ENJ. Never heard of this one before, but again, I've done some analysis on it previously for you guys. So we have a level there that is rejected. And is that good enough to hold it? I don't know. I would probably expect it to come back down to this one. Come back down to this one, and then go from there. Potential buy on this particular level. BTFD, is that a crypto? No idea what that is, Alistair. So I'm now trying to catch up on what you guys have said here. So people taking the piss out slow. Could you look at Oracle and HSBC? NFT metaverse player, Henry. Really? NFTs. That just, yeah, water. I went to an actual what was it? An art exhibition open in Marbella when I was there. And I walked in. I was looking at these paintings, and all I can describe it as a Laura Croft-esque painting. And I was like, that looks a little bit Laura Croft without the bosoms. And the guy who was selling was the sales rep just started laughing. He goes, "Yeah, it's a new computer game." And I was like, "Okay, cool. It's an avatar of a computer game. There's about 40 million playing it." I was like, "Wow, I've never heard of it." So the whole exhibition was about a computer game avatars that you could go and buy. And they're all anything between $2,500 up to $7,500. And I was like, "You for real? A picture or a painting of an avatar?" Wow, this world is getting, yeah, we're living in very strange times. Oracle, Alex, this looks like a decent trade here. So are we looking for Oracle to bounce here, or are we looking for Oracle to come back down to the actual horizontal level, guys? Which are we going bounce there, bounce there, bounce there, bounce there, and it's going to bounce here? Or are you guys looking for it to come back down? So it bounced there once, twice, 3 times. Are you looking for it to come down and hit there a 4th time? Okay, so don't say bounce, because both of them are bouncing. So you're bouncing off the horizontal, so HL, or TL, trend line. Which one are we looking at? Okay, so is this trade valid off the horizontal line? Absolutely it is. Is this valid off the trend line? Absolutely it is, yes. So when is earnings coming up on Oracle? So I'm going to clear all those drawings. Oracle. So earnings on Oracle is not coming out until the 16th of December. So it's a month away. Okay. It's a month away. Also, let's have a look. Let's have a look at it here. Now, earnings here was up 6%, here up 4%, up here 17%, up 6%. So if we have earnings that come in December anywhere between 4 to 10% up, we would expect a pretty big jump. We'd expect a pretty big jump on the likes of this. We expect a pretty big jump on the likes of this. So this is something that massively interested in. And as you can see here, the profit margin is going up. Earnings are going up. Okay, so it is something that we are potentially looking at. Okay, so just imagine we're taking this trade right now. Okay, so imagine we're taking this trade. How would we look to enter this trade? Let me have a look at the pre-market. Are we up or down in pre-market? We're up slightly on the pre-market, so 494.18. So it's slightly up on the pre-market. So how would we enter this trade? Where does our stop loss go? Where does our entry go? So on and so forth. Okay, so a few people there are coming up with a few reasons. Okay, so everyone seems to have come up with. So everyone seems to come up with a couple of things. So we'll just go back here, and I'm going to pop a horizontal level in there. And I'm now just going to go down to this one and get my long position. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So that's what we have there. So how many people will take that there? So entry above it, stop loss below it. So that is risking 2% of the market. So we're looking for this to go up 6%. So there. So how many people will take that trade? Okay. How many people will take this second trade? Long position. Let me bring that down a fraction more. And this is 3.8. Three sixes are 18. So 10.8. So how many people will take the second position? So position 1 or position 2? Position 2 is safer, but it means it has less upside. So then it comes down to what type of trader you are. Are you someone who's a little more aggressive? Are you someone who's not? Safety first. I'm not getting greedy. Okay, cool. So there are the entries and exits on the likes of that. So we're jumping in there live at that particular mark one there, and our stop loss is down here. We'll drop it down here. So there. 1998 is our stop loss, and our entry is 94.56. That's our entry and our stop loss on this particular one. If you're taking that with the big stop loss, if you're taking it with the smaller one, then it's slightly different. 92.66 is your stop loss, and your entry is 94.56. So that being said, I'm happy enough to take that trade. So I'm using eToro for this one. So they are not eToro and Naga for this one. Just making sure that the levels are all correct. So our entry, so we're pressing the long position. This is the CFD. So I am taking the CFD. So ORCL.N is the CFD. So the entry is 94.56. So I am taking not a current price on a specific rate. So 94.56. 94.56 is where I'm entering the market. So I want to break that high for me to be in the market. Now, if I go down here to set a stop loss, I click on that there, and it says stop loss. But I am looking at a specific rate instead of a monetary term. So my stop loss on this one was, let me have a quick look. The stop loss on this was 90.98. So just below all these lows. So just going back to that. So just making sure we're below there. So 90.80 on Naga. Okay, so 90.80 is my stop loss. So 90.80 is my stop loss. Now you can see there I have 5 grand. So what's 1% of 5 grand? It's 50 quid. So it says here, okay, it says here my investment is 279 quid. But if you look at it, it says my stop loss is at 55 pounds. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. If I press the minus button, will it go down further? Okay, so there, perfect. We're actually spot on at 50 quid. Okay, so 50 quid. Now, what I'm going to do is to scroll down to set take profit. If I click here, it opens up the take profit. And I'm going to leave it as, I'm going to change that to amount. I'm going to change that to 150 quid. Remember, I'm looking for 3 times that. So 150. So then it tells me, okay. It tells me what that actually is, needs to go up a little bit higher. Change up to 50. That's how much my take profit is. There's 150 quid, 50 quid risk. If I change it to a specific rate, it tells me that, look, I'm jumping out 105 and my stop loss is at 90 quid. What's the preference for Naga over eToro? More control? It is, for me, there's a little more leverage with the likes of Naga. Okay, so with more leverage with NAGA, but again, I'm still risking the same amount of money. I'm still risking 1% of my account. I've just used NAGA for the last 10 or 15 years, or not 10 or 15 years, for the last 5 or 6 years, where I've used eToro for only 2 or 3. So I've just used them for a long time. So I know the platform inside out. And then there's a lot size investment. I have 250 quid. Out of that 5K, 250 quid is being used up. And that will be placing that trade. Okay. Has anyone got any questions on that? So where do you see leverage on NAGA? Okay, you can't see leverage on NAGA. It's automatically set as a certain leverage. Now, if you want to change the leverage on NAGA, you send them an email and you can if you want. You can get the leverage, I think, is up to 1,000 to 1 with NAGA if you want, depending on where you want to use their thing. Okay, so. But again, people talk about leverage being risky. Leverage is not risky if you use it correctly. That's the thing with people. It's not risky if it's used correctly. That's the silly thing. You have to make sure you use it correctly. You're making sure that you're not over risking, that you're risking 1% of the account. So the market opens in 40 minutes, and then we'll be able to place that trade in 40 minutes time. Okay, well that's that trade set up there. Anyone who is looking to take that. And the other one you said was Hsbc. So Hsbc. Horizontal level. So is that a trade that you guys would take on Hsbc? We'll delete. So if we look at this, we have one bounce, 2 bounces. And we're in an area here, 3 bounces, 4, and then 5. We have a little bit of momentum to the upside here. We also have room to this high here. So is that something that you'll be looking to trade from here up to there? Okay, so a lot of people have come up and said that the entry has missed. Okay, we missed the entry. Anyone who has said that, well done. So if the entry is missed, how do we trade this then? If we've missed the entry, how do we trade this? Okay, but yeah, everyone has said we drop down to the 4 hour. That is fine, okay? But looking at the size of these bars, we probably won't get anything on the 4 hour. Think about staying on this time frame. How do we trade this if we've missed the entry on this time frame? If we missed the entry, how would we trade it on this time frame? Absolutely. Underlying asset. An underlying asset. So there is an underlying asset on this. There's room for this to go. There is room for this to go. So anyone who wants to buy this as an underlying asset, there is room for this to go. And for it to get to that high, there is 10% upside on it. Would I be looking at this long term? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Someone asked a good question. How with the earnings? Earnings were up 10%. Earnings were up 10%. Okay, so that's how you can take trades, even though you've literally missed them there. You look for the underlying asset. So out of the two of them, which is a better one? For me, Oracle is much better. But yeah, there are options. Someone said they nearly took Square Inc. And I can absolutely understand why someone would take Square. Bounce once, bounce twice, and look, we've bounced a third time. And look, this has popped to the upside. But again, it's gone pretty flat through this area. It's pretty flat. See, for me, if you're taking this as a CFD, you do not need to see this bar. You do not need to see this bar if you're taking this as CFD. If you find this as an underlying asset, again, you don't need to see this bar. You're taking it there. You're taking it on that ring low, and you're expecting it to turn. Okay, which it has. And now at the pre-market, it's actually a bit lower, so you're back at your entry here. So it is struggling to pop to the upside. But looking at the structure here, for me it's not great. I wanted it either to break and retest here, which it hasn't. So I'm going to delete those, remove, and then remove. For me, I would expect that to potentially come back down to here. Even though we have a triple bottom there, I would probably expect it to come back down to here and then bounce. I think this level here is just much stronger. Okay, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Anyone who is on YouTube, if you have any questions, anything like that, just pop them into the comment section and I will reply to them. Or if you have anything that you want me to do in particular, let me know and I will go through them as well. Look, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely evening and I will speak to you all on Wednesday, or I'll see you next Tuesday.